My name is Mingjie, and I am a rising senior at Wootton High School in Rockville, Maryland, and I've been leading my hack club for 2 years. The goal of this video is not to teach you how to run your first meeting, but rather a case study of myself by also sharing some tips and lessons I learned throughout my experience running hack club. I think these tips and experiences will be really helpful for you to easily visualize what a successful first meeting will look like. And by the end of this video, you should have a clear actionable on what you should do to prepare for your first meeting. So before I start, I want to briefly talk about my school's demographics. I live in Rockville, Maryland. It's in the region of suburban DC. I have about 2,300 students in my school, so about like 600 students per grade level, which is considered a pretty large school. On the CS side, every student is required to take a foundation tech class before they graduate, and there's a high enrollment rate in AP Computer Science Principles class. Beyond that, we also have a few classes beyond the AP CS Java class. I'm going to start with assuming that you did a great job at marketing your club ahead of time. So hopefully by the time you're ready to run your club, you should have a fat list of attendees on the interest form that you sent out earlier. And a quick tip is that if you have a gap longer than a week between your major marketing push and your first meeting, you should keep your students updated about your meeting plans, previews of what you're going to be doing at Hack Club, and also your first meeting date. This is extremely important because especially for the beginning of the year, where students are trying out different clubs, if they don't hear about you in a while, they will forget about you and they will eventually set their calendars for another club. You will lose a lot of interested attendees from there. For myself, I had a big gap between my marketing push and my first meeting, so I actually had to send a few emails and reminders to get my students updated about my first meeting dates. Also, before your first meeting, you should also get your co-leaders together to know about the content you're going to be running throughout your meeting, specifically the workshop. Run through the workshop with your co-leaders together to make sure everyone's on board with whatever you're going through. Very likely the first website workshop, everyone just pull up Replit, make sure you have done the workshop, got all the code working, made a sample, and make sure everything's working. If you're running into any bugs, you can report it or discuss it with other leaders in the Slack community. Another thing I did before my first meeting was I brought my own laptop into the school and test the school environment, especially the Wi-Fi, because sometimes internet services suck and some services might not work because they're blocked by the school internet. So make sure all these things are working, especially for school. For my own case, I did some marketing before my school year even started because we have a club fair before that, and we also need to do some marketing mainly towards freshmen after the school year starts. My first meeting was like 2-3 weeks after that. When I walk into my classroom, I have no idea how many people I will have in the room, and I was just really concerned about like if people will actually come into my room. That's totally normal, right? Eventually, it's a really good feeling to see like a bunch of people gradually filling the room up. Although like the kind of great feeling eventually turned into panicking because we literally ran out of seats and people have to stand in the back of the room or sit in the front just to like stay in the room. Great thing about planning a workshop meeting is that it works for all party sizes. I did a quick introductory speech about what Hack Club is, how Hack Club works, which I was controlling about like 5 to 10 minutes. I also fit a tight little icebreaker in just to get everyone to introduce themselves, say their names, what grade they're in, and how they heard about Hack Club, just to get everyone to know each other. Although it might sound really dumb, it's really useful because you will have people actually starting conversation with each other. After that, I did a quick demographic check. I identified some of the more advanced members in the group, and I was able to pair them with groups with less experiences, just so they can help each other out. And then I started a workshop. I don't have a lot of tips on workshop because the workshops are really just the fundamentals of running a hack club, so you might have heard about how to run a workshop through other paths. So I'm not going to cover in detail how to run a workshop, but go through the basics and make sure the members are following the workshop by themselves. You're not supposed to be leading them step by step. That will make people feel really uncomfortable. I really prefer having my members complete the workshop at their own pace. The advanced member can also help the slower members, so it creates a really great balance. And remember, when you answer the questions to students when they're running into problems, don't directly give them answers. Teach them how to use Google to find the information they need. It's a fundamental skill they need to be doing workshops, to be actually coding in general. They need to know how to use Stack Overflow, like W3 Schools, and find their own answers to their own problems. Demo is a really important chunk of the first meeting because it gives people a chance to show off what they have been working on. Everyone's project should look very different at the end of a meeting, although everyone's working the first website workshop. So make sure you push people to customize their projects. At the end of the meeting, make sure you have around 20 to 30 minutes for people to show off their projects, and remind people that no matter if you like the person's project or not, show some respect and show some appreciation for the person's project because there are students in this room who's taking the first step in programming. Sharing is especially important for students who are beginners in programming, and the first website they ever made will be like the first thing they ever did with coding. This entire process sounds really general, but after my meeting, I gathered around with my co-leaders and we realized that we talked together about if we liked the meeting or not. I was very lucky and all my co-leaders told me the meeting was great. The meeting went great, everyone was so attendance. If your first meeting was successful, members want to come back and you will sustain the amount of people you have in the first meeting. And another thing that's really important is that are people off task? If so, make sure you're leading them back onto track. People might be coming to play video games, do their homework. Prevent them from doing that because these behavior may spread among your attendees, and once people see other members getting off task, they will tend to go off task as well. Also, if you have a sponsor teacher sitting in the room, ask them about it. My sponsor teacher was not a CS teacher. My sponsor about feedbacks and ask them about how they think your meeting went. And eventually you can also ask your co-leader about it, although they might be a little bit biased, but you can still get like really honest feedback about how the meeting went. So that's my general introduction on how to run your first meeting. I really hope this was helpful on preparing you for your first meeting. If you need more help, you can check out all the other videos on this channel and other articles in the Help Center. More details can be found in the video description or on this page. My Slack handle is